Really enjoyable game to watch from the commentary box. What was it like from the dugout?
Well, you really only enjoy a game when you win it, and when you draw it 1-1 and you were 1-0 up, it's always a bit disappointing. The other way round, you go home a little bit happier. If we're 1-0 down, then we come back last minute like they did. But there's things we can learn from the game, and we certainly gave as good as we got. I thought first half we had 3 or 4 really good chances, and I thought second half they had 3 or 4 really good chances, and if we take all our chances, the game's 5-5. So at least we did that. They're a good team. There's a lot of experience. They're very good in the final third with their movement and their cleverness and their little runs and their little passes and things. So a lot of them have played obviously at a high level. So in effect, we can be quite pleased, but we want to get wins. But anyway, we gave as good as we got, and hopefully we can take it into our next 3 or 4 games, because this would be a good draw if we can win our next 2 or 3 on the trot.
And there was a good opportunity at 1-0. Rob Dickey just swung his boot at it and just closed up. 2-0, that would have been a very different game.
Yeah, I know. It was just, what was that, 6 yards out or something, and you'd expect him to tuck that in. But we also had other great chances. Righty from our set play, the throw in. We had Downsy had a chance. We had some good chances, proper chances. So at least we're creating them, and we have played a side that could put 3 teams in this league and compete. So when the lads come off the bench, and you've got lads that have the experience that they had. So I can't be over the top happy, because I wanted to win the game. And if you'd have said, would you take a point before this game, I'd have said no. But now we've got it, we've just got to hold our hands up, accept it, and go on to the next game.
And perhaps a little bit frustrating in the sense that Portsmouth had their chances right at the start of the second half, but then you scored the goal, you were on top, and their goal kind of came from nothing a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it didn't look too much danger. The fellas got down the outside, and it was a little bit of a... We just had a look at it, it's hard to see, but the ball was kicked out of Griff's hands. I'm not sure whether you could class it. He actually had both hands on it, you can't really see that. But anyway, they took the opportunity and scored right at the death. So it's always disappointing, isn't it? But the support was great. Yeah, it was great to have a full away end. The Portsmouth support gave them good support, and it was nice atmosphere. It was good to play in a very competitive atmosphere.
Played 79 draws, 6 of which had been 1-1. What does that tell you about where your team are at the moment?
We're draw specialists, that's what it tells us. A lot of them have been at home. It says that in this league, all games are close. There's been some games we've been behind and come back to draw, and some games we've been in front and the opposition come back to draw. So, we've still got that little bit of a record of 10 out of 11 we haven't lost. So we're not losing games. We've just got to find that little spark like we did at Crewe. And I did tell you Portsmouth were better than Crewe. And that's just taking your chances when you've made it. And that's all you can do. And that's where the lads at the top levels, they take more of their chances than they miss.
Still only 6 points off the plough, so it's still that tight.
Of course it's tight, and what we've got to be is make sure that when we've played half the season and we get into January, that we're within 5 or 6 points of the playoffs at least. We'd like to be in them by then, but and if you are, then of course you've just got to make up 5 points over the second half of the season, and we can do a little bit of business maybe in January. But I was pleased with a few of our lads. I thought Rory come in and done great. I thought Danny Wright was unplayable again. I thought he did a good job, and 1 or 2 others. So at the end of the day, it's not. I said to them, it's not doom and gloom, even though we're talking a bit like it. We've drawn, get on with it, make it a good draw if we win the next couple.
And you talk again about the run, just one defeat in a long run now. What is it that's clicked in your mind with the team? Because you're critical of them early in the season, and now, you look not much more solid, don't you?
I think there's a good work rate amongst the starting 11, I think, and the lads on the bench, of course. But I think we're putting in a good work rate. We've found a they've got used to the pattern that we want to play, and we've had, we need people. We probably need to score more goals than we score. I think that's really where we've got to be, and hopefully Dan Harmon come back. He's not totally ready yet, because he's not as sharp as he has been, but every game we give him gets him a bit more sharpness. So it's the work rate, really. The work rate's keeping us in there, and then it's the extra little bit of quality that wins your games.
Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is the three up front going to be something you progress with then? Because,
Well, that's what I
because
said.
of that.
Well, what I
need
did
for
say, I
goals.
just said in there, if we're going to play three up front, and that's not to say that that's what we're going to do, but if we are going to, then those three have got to be a constant threat. And if they're not a constant threat, then the opposition are going to be a constant threat because we've got one less player behind the ball. Hard for the two midfielders, they've got a big area to cover. The two wing backs have got to make sure that they're switched on and getting forward when they can and getting back when they can. Centre halves have got to know when to cover the wing backs when they've gone forward. So I think they're getting used to knowing what they've got to do, and then it's just down to ability. You can have the best shape in the world, best tactic in the world, but you've got to have the ability as well, and I think we have. And I think when we get our run, because I promise you we'll get a run, then we'll see the quality come out.
You've seen enough in the two games that
Yeah,
you've used that to suggest that the crew game's not the one-off.
No,
that can happen again.
No, it's definitely not a one-off. Listen, you're only as good as your opposition sometimes, but if you create that many chances against a team that normally create double the chances they create against us every week, then we've done all right. We've done all right, and I think they was happier with a point in the end than we was.
You seem to have this conversation after every game. You seem to be losing a player just as one comes back. Aaron now has his ban just as Kyle comes back into the.
I think because of the 5 bookings, and I thought there was a couple of ridiculous bookings today, and we were disappointed not to get the penalty as well early on. When a ref sort of throws his book around after 7 or 8 minutes, then it puts you right under pressure, and I thought Pelly's tackle was a very, very good tackle. The lad wasn't hurt, and it was a good tackle. So disappointed with that. Unfortunately, at this stage of the season, you're going to get people having five bookings. They should get a medal if they haven't got 5 bookings by now. Not a blinking suspension.
But obviously you've got the personnel to cover that, because O'Shaughnessy can go back into the back.
We got cover. We have got cover, and Downsy probably will. He won't want the rest, but he'll have to take the rest and make sure he comes back ready for the game he comes back in. What is it? The Sutton game, is it?
Yeah, Cambridge.
Cambridge, yeah. So anyway, you can't worry about that, because at this stage every team has got that problem. They've all got players that are out on 5 bookings. Most.
Yeah, a lot of fans leaving the ground today on their Twitter will be worried about the goalkeeping, as they see a perceived error. I imagine that your support is still fully and squarely behind.
Yeah, of course
Russell.
it is. Yeah, I mean he's made a couple of fantastic saves for us, and there's a couple he let sort of bounce out of his hand, but he coped with a couple. But the one on the ground there has obviously been fizzed along low. He's got himself down. It was right by the post. Got 1.5 hands on it, and the fella's momentum. He took his chance, nicked it out of it, and had no gap to put it in, but still put it in. So it's just unlucky, and you'll see a lot more goalkeepers out there tonight on the TV making bigger mistakes than that. I didn't really class that as a mistake, but and I did think he saved us on a few occasions just after half time.
There's finally 2 quite important games like Colchester and Cambridge, both teams down there in that sort of lower, sort of bottom middle half of the table, as I suppose it is now. The 12th to 24th is the lower middle half. So
Yeah,
it's
don't be fooled by
games.
that, because we're down there as well,
Yeah.
and yet I think we're a good team. So you've still got to win, turn up, and you've got to win the game, and you've got to do all the right things. They're going to need to get out. They'll see that they're only a few points off playoffs if they do what I've been saying up to January. So it's very tight amongst probably 20 odd teams below the top 5 or 6.
Cheers, Gary.
All right,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks, Gary.